Welcome back to RF Coins. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most talked about and fascinating coins in American numismatic history, the 1969 D. Lincoln penny. You might be holding a coin in your pocket right now that looks completely ordinary, but what if I told you that a small, copper-colored penny from 1969 could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars or even close to $1 million if it's the right one? Stay tuned, because this story is going to change how you look at every single Lincoln penny you find. Let's begin our journey back in time to 1969, a year filled with history. The United States was in the middle of change, the Vietnam War, the moon landing preparations, and a society rapidly evolving. Amid all of this, the U.S. Mint in Denver, Colorado, was busy producing millions of Lincoln Memorial pennies, each carrying the familiar face of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Grand Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The coin bears the D. Mint mark, showing it was struck at the Denver Mint. The 1969 D. Lincoln penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. It might seem like an ordinary coin, but what makes it so special is not just its age, it's the errors, varieties, and condition that determine its massive potential value. Now let's talk about the most exciting part, the value and market worth of the 1969 D. penny. While a regular circulated 1969 D. penny is worth only a cent in your change jar, a mint state or high-grade example can command hundreds of dollars. Collectors are always chasing pristine, shiny red examples graded by PCGS or NGC with grades like MS65 red or higher. In today's market, an MS67 red 1969 D. Lincoln penny can sell for over $800 to $900, sometimes even touching $1,000 depending on the buyer's demand and the coin's eye appeal. But here's where things get really interesting. There's a famous error variety related to the 1969 Lincoln penny that has made this year legendary among collectors. The 1969 S double die obverse Lincoln cent. Although this particular variety was made in San Francisco, not Denver, it often gets confused with the 1969 D due to similar dates and design features. The 1969 S double die is one of the most valuable Lincoln pennies ever discovered, with examples selling for over $700,000 to $900,000, and in top condition, it's considered a nearly $1 million penny. Imagine finding one of those in your coin jar. That's the kind of magic that keeps coin collectors searching every day. Even the 1969 D. pennies, though they don't have the same double die fame, still have tremendous collector value in certain conditions. Full red, high-grade Denver-struck pennies are not easy to find because copper tends to tone over time. So, if you discover a bright, original red 1969 D. penny in mint condition, it's a piece worth protecting. It could bring you anywhere from $100 to nearly $1,000, depending on the grade. Let's talk about the history and design a bit more. The Lincoln cent has been in continuous production since 1909, when it was introduced to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, features a detailed portrait of Lincoln on the front and the words, "In God We Trust," arched above his head. To the left, the word "Liberty" stands proudly, and to the right is the date, 1969, followed by the small D. mint mark for Denver. On the reverse side, designed by Frank Gasparo, we see the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959 to mark Lincoln's 150th birthday. If you look closely with a magnifying glass, you can even see a tiny figure of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, a small but powerful detail that connects both sides of the coin in tribute to one of America's greatest presidents. Now, collectors and experts always emphasize the importance of condition, rarity, and error features when valuing any coin. For the 1969 D. penny, check for sharp details, no scratches, and a bright luster. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS, NGC, or ANAX can fetch far higher prices than raw, ungraded coins. In auctions, record-breaking prices often happen when two or more collectors are competing for the same flawless specimen. Here's an example: a 1969 D. Lincoln penny graded MS67 RD, red, sold for nearly $900, and another with similar brilliance was listed at $959 in recent market activity. That's right, a 1-cent coin selling for close to $1,000, so how can you find one of these valuable coins? Start by checking every penny you come across, especially those from the 1960s and 1970s. Look closely under good lighting, or use a magnifying glass to spot unusual details or doubling on the letters and numbers. If you have rolls of old pennies stored away, now is the perfect time to go through them. Many collectors have found rare and valuable coins in ordinary bank rolls or change from grocery stores, and if you ever come across a coin that looks suspiciously different, don't clean it. Cleaning can destroy a coin's value. Instead, keep it safe and get it evaluated by a professional grading service. Sometimes even small differences in color, shine, or strike can make a big difference in price. The 1969 Lincoln penny represents a fascinating era of American coinage, a time when millions of coins were minted, yet only a handful have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. These coins tell a story not just of money, but of craftsmanship, history, and the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln himself. Today, collectors continue to search for hidden gems, and the 1969 remains one of those coins that sparks excitement, curiosity, and passion. Whether you're new to collecting or a seasoned expert, every Lincoln penny you examine brings you closer to that thrill of discovery, the possibility that the next coin in your hand could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even close to $1 million. So the next time you see a Liberty 1969 Lincoln penny, don't overlook it. Take a good look. You might just be staring at a tiny piece of American history and a potential fortune in your pocket. Thanks for watching RF Coins, where every coin has a story, and every story could lead to treasure. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1969 Lincoln penny, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting coin discoveries, hidden rarities, and market updates. Turn on that notification bell so you never miss another incredible coin story. Remember, your change could change your life. Keep collecting, keep searching, and as always, keep watching RF Coins, your home for the best coin stories in America. Welcome back to RF Coins, your ultimate destination for exploring the hidden treasures of US coins. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most talked about and fascinating coins in American numismatic history, the 1969 Lincoln penny. You might be holding a coin in your pocket right now that looks completely ordinary, but what if I told you that a small, copper-colored penny from 1969 could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars or even close to $1 million if it's the right one? Stay tuned, because this story is going to change how you look at every single Lincoln penny you find. Let's begin our journey back in time to 1969, a year filled with history. The United States was in the middle of change, the Vietnam War, the moon landing preparations, and a society rapidly evolving. Amid all of this, the U.S. Mint in Denver, Colorado, was busy producing millions of Lincoln Memorial pennies, each carrying the familiar face of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Grand Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The coin bears the D Mint mark, showing it was struck at the Denver Mint. The 1969 Lincoln penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. It might seem like an ordinary coin, but what makes it so special is not just its age, it's the errors, varieties, and condition that determine its massive potential value. Now let's talk about the most exciting part, the value and market worth of the 1969 penny. While a regular circulated 1969 penny is worth only a cent in your change jar, a mint state or high-grade example can command hundreds of dollars. Collectors are always chasing. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and often overlooked coins in American history, the 1973 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it may look like just another ordinary copper coin, but believe me, this penny hides stories of history, minting mysteries, and unbelievable current market values that can shock even the most experienced collectors. Some of these tiny copper pieces are selling for nearly $898,958, yes, you heard that right, almost $900,000. So, sit back and stay tuned till the end, because this story of the 1973 Liberty Lincoln penny might just change the way you look at every coin in your hand. Let's start by understanding where it all began. The Lincoln cent has been a symbol of American pride and history since it was first introduced in 1909, honoring President Abraham Lincoln on the centennial of his birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln penny became the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait. It replaced the Indian head cent and marked a new era in American coinage. The 1973 Lincoln penny continued this proud legacy, bearing Lincoln's profile on the obverse, that famous bust facing right, with the word Liberty to the left, the year 1973 to the right, and the motto, In God We Trust, above. But the story doesn't end there. Behind this simple design lies a time of change and transformation for the U.S. Mint. In 1973, pennies were still made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving them that classic reddish tone we all recognize. This was just before the huge metal composition change in 1982, when copper prices skyrocketed, forcing the mint to switch to cheaper zinc-based coins. So the 1973 pennies represent one of the last solid copper issues in circulation, and that alone makes them highly desirable for collectors. Now let's talk about where these coins were minted. The 1973 Lincoln penny was struck in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, with a D mint mark; and San Francisco, with an S mint mark. Each mint had its own story. Philadelphia produced the largest number of pennies that year, hundreds of millions of them. Denver followed closely behind, while the San Francisco Mint produced special proof coins intended for collectors. These proof coins were made with mirror-like finishes and sharper details. If you ever come across one of these in pristine condition, especially one graded by PCGS or NGC as PR69 or PR70, it can fetch an impressive price. But let's move on to what you really want to know: the value. In normal circulated condition, a 1973 penny might seem common, often worth only a few cents. But under the right conditions, and especially with certain minting errors or rare features, the value can soar beyond imagination. For example, a 1973 Lincoln penny graded MS67 red can easily sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The reason? Condition and rarity. Coins that have remained untouched for decades, retaining their bright copper luster without scratches, spots, or wear, are incredibly hard to find. Now, here's where things get truly exciting: the rare error coins. Some 1973 pennies have been discovered with double die errors, where the design or lettering was struck twice slightly off from the original impression. These doubling errors can be seen on the date, the word Liberty, or In God We Trust. When collectors find such an error in uncirculated condition, the coin's value skyrockets. Some of these have fetched prices of over $10,000, $25,000, and even up to $898,958 for extreme rarities in pristine condition. Imagine that, a single penny from 1973 worth more than a brand new luxury car or even a small house. Other notable varieties include off-center strikes, where the design is shifted due to misalignment during minting, broad strikes, die cracks, and even transitional errors where the wrong metal planchet was used. These are the kinds of mistakes that collectors dream of finding because they're not supposed to exist. Each of these rare anomalies adds to the coin's uniqueness and historical intrigue, making it more valuable on the open market. Speaking of the market, the current coin market is booming. Collectors are paying top dollar for coins that tell a story, and the 1973 Lincoln penny does exactly that. According to recent auction results and collector trends, high-grade examples are consistently breaking records. A 1973 S-proof penny in perfect condition can sell for several $1,000s, and a 1973 D penny with unique mint errors can go for tens of thousands. And those ultra-rare finds, especially those near-perfect red examples with mint luster and full strike, can command prices approaching $898,958 or even higher. Now let's talk about how to identify if your penny is valuable. First, examine the color. Coin collectors use the terms red, RD, red-brown, RB, and brown, BN, to classify copper coins. The redder the penny, the higher its potential value, because it indicates that the coin hasn't been exposed to air or moisture for long. Next, check for any doubling on the date or lettering under magnification. If you notice even a slight doubling, that could mean you have a double die, and that's worth investigating. You can also weigh the coin. A 1973 copper penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. Anything lighter could suggest a wrong planchet error, which makes it a collector's dream. Another thing to check is the mint mark. The 1973D and 1973S coins have small differences that can affect value. Proof coins from San Francisco often have a mirror-like finish, while regular circulation strikes from Philadelphia and Denver are matte. However, even a regular strike can be worth a fortune if it's in mint state condition. Collectors often send their coins to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, where they receive a numeric grade from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the higher the value, and if you get a 1973 penny graded MS-68 or above, you could be sitting on a coin worth thousands of dollars. The story of the Liberty 1973 Lincoln penny isn't just about money, it's about American history. Each penny carries the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, the president who led the nation through its most difficult times. It represents perseverance, freedom, and the strength of the American spirit. Holding one of these coins is like holding a small piece of history, a piece of art, crafted in copper, that has survived for over half a century. So next time you check your change or open that old jar of pennies you've had sitting around for years, take a closer look. You never know what you might find. Maybe, just maybe, one of those dull-looking coins is actually a 1973 Lincoln penny worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Many collectors have discovered life-changing finds this way, turning forgotten change into treasure. And with today's coin market hotter than ever, now is the perfect time to start looking at RF coins. We encourage you to keep learning, keep collecting, and never underestimate the power of a single penny. Remember, every great coin story begins with curiosity, and who knows, your next coin discovery could be the one that makes history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to RF Coins, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our updates on rare and valuable US coins. Share this video with your friends, family, and fellow collectors, because they might have a hidden treasure waiting in their pocket too. This is RF Coins, signing off with another incredible coin story. Keep searching, keep collecting, and as always, may your next find be worth a fortune. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video, where we uncover more hidden treasures in US coins, right here on RF Coins. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and often overlooked coins in American history, the 1973 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it may look like just another ordinary copper coin, but believe me, this penny hides stories of history, minting mysteries, and unbelievable current market values that can shock even the most experienced collectors. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and often overlooked coins in American history, the 1974 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it might look like just another ordinary cent you find in your pocket change, but the truth is, the story behind this coin is packed with history, mystery, and money, serious money. Some examples of these coins have shocked collectors around the world with how valuable they can be. So grab your coin collection, sit back, and let's uncover the secrets of the Liberty 1974 Lincoln penny, a tiny piece of copper that could be worth far more than just 1 cent. Let's start from the beginning, the history of the 1974 Lincoln penny. The year was 1974, and the United States Mint was facing a major problem. Copper prices were rising dramatically, and it was becoming too expensive to make pennies out of solid copper. Each 1-cent coin was almost worth its weight in metal. The government began to worry that soon it might cost more than a cent to make a penny. So the U.S. Mint started experimenting with different metals, aluminum, bronze, and other alloys, to find a cheaper alternative. In Denver, the Mint was producing millions of regular copper pennies with the D Mint mark, located just below the date. These were the 1974 Lincoln pennies, struck from a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. But what made this year so special were the experimental aluminum cents, and the connection they had with the regular 1974 copper pennies. In early 1974, over 1.5 million aluminum pennies were minted as test coins. But before they could enter circulation, the plan was abandoned because of objections from the vending machine industry and because the coins were too light to work properly. The mint ordered that all aluminum cents be destroyed, but a few escaped, and they are among the rarest coins in U.S. history. Now, here's where the story gets even more interesting. Rumors have circulated for decades that a few 1974 aluminum pennies were struck at the Denver Mint, which, according to official records, should never have happened. But coin collectors believe that at least one or two aluminum 1974 pennies survived, and if any of those ever surface, they could be worth millions of dollars. Imagine that, a penny from 1974 with a D mint mark, possibly made of aluminum, being worth over $2 million. Now, when we talk about the 1974 Lincoln penny in copper, most of them are extremely common. The Denver Mint struck over 4.2 billion of these coins, so most examples are only worth their face value, 1 cent, especially if they're worn or circulated. But not all 1974 pennies are created equal. There are some special varieties and errors that make this coin worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars today. Let's talk about mint errors. During production, sometimes coins are struck off-center, double-struck, or even made on the wrong planchet. A 1974 Lincoln penny struck on a silver dime planchet is one of the rarest known errors, and it can sell for thousands of dollars. Imagine finding a coin that looks a bit thinner, lighter, or has a silvery color. That could be a treasure hiding in plain sight. Another thing to look for is sharp strike quality and clean surfaces. A 1974 Lincoln penny in MS 67 red, mint state, condition, with bright luster and no visible scratches, can sell for impressive prices. According to current auction records and coin market data, a flawless example of this coin has sold for over $900, and some listings have reached nearly $950, depending on color and condition. That means your everyday penny could be worth $898 to $957 right now on the collector's market, if it's in pristine condition. Now let's talk about grading, because the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth nearly $1,000 comes down to the grade. Grading refers to the condition of the coin. A circulated penny, the kind that's been in pockets, change jars, or cash registers, is usually only worth face value. But uncirculated pennies, especially those with full red color and no wear, can be extremely valuable. If your 1974 penny still has that fiery copper glow, no scratches, no fingerprint marks, and perfect details on Lincoln's face and the word Liberty, that's when you've struck gold, or rather, copper treasure. Let's not forget about the design. The obverse, or front of the coin, features the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that's been used since 1909. Above Lincoln's head is the word Liberty, and to the right, the year 1974, followed by that small but mighty D mint mark for Denver. On the reverse side, we see the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, with the inscription United States of America across the top, E pluribus unum above the memorial, and 1 cent at the bottom. Hidden in the design, if you look closely, you can even see a tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, a detail many collectors love to show off when they use magnifying glasses. Now let's explore the current market for the 1974 Lincoln penny. As of right now, collectors are actively searching for high-grade examples of this coin. According to the most recent market trends, a certified MS 65 red 1974 penny is worth around $25 to $40, but once you move up to MS 67 red, that price can skyrocket to $900 or more. Even slightly lower grades like MS 66 red can bring in around $100 to $200, depending on demand and appeal. If you've got one sealed in a protective holder from PCGS or NGC, it's worth checking current auction results. Prices are going up steadily because collectors love high-quality Lincoln cents, but there's another secret in the 1974 penny world: small die varieties and errors. Some have doubled lettering on the date or the word Liberty. Others have repunched mint marks, where the D was struck twice slightly off-center. These minor differences can dramatically increase the coin's desirability. A sharp-eyed collector can turn a 1-cent coin into a $500 payday just by spotting a small detail. Now let's think about why these coins are becoming more valuable today. Lincoln pennies, especially from the 1970s, are part of American history. They represent a time when copper was still used in full strength, before 1982, when pennies switched to a copper-coated zinc composition. So every 1974 D penny is made of real copper, which already gives it intrinsic value. With copper prices fluctuating and more people melting down old coins for metal, which, by the way, is illegal for US pennies and nickels, collectors are holding onto them tightly. So the next time you go through your spare change or coin jar, keep an eye out for that shiny 1974 D penny with Liberty perfectly struck in bright red color. If it looks brand new, don't spend it. You might be holding a coin worth nearly $900 or more. And if you're really lucky and somehow find one made of aluminum, well, you could be holding one of the most valuable pennies in the entire world. Before we wrap up, let's recap the key takeaways. The 1974 D. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of one of the most underappreciated yet collectible American coins, the 1978 Lincoln penny. Believe it or not, this humble 1-cent coin, with the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the bold Liberty inscription, might just be worth a lot more than a penny. In fact, some rare examples are worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on their condition, mint mark, and striking quality. Let's travel back to 1978, a year of transformation in American history. The U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins, yet collectors know that not all coins are created equal. The 1978 Lincoln cent belongs to the long-running Lincoln Memorial Series, which began in 1959 and ran until 2008. This design features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner, and on the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo. The small details of this design carry decades of American pride, artistry, and heritage. Now, before we get into the big money, let's talk a little about the composition of this coin. The 1978 Lincoln penny was still made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. This is important because just a few years later, starting in 1982, the U.S. Mint switched to a much cheaper copper-plated zinc composition. That makes pre-1982 pennies like the 1978 issue more desirable to collectors, and sometimes even to metal enthusiasts because of their higher intrinsic copper value. In 1978, 3 U.S. mints were busy striking Lincoln cents: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. Each mint produced millions of coins, but quality control and minting conditions varied. Here's the interesting part: despite the enormous mintage, finding a 1978 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition is not as easy as you might think. After decades of circulation, most have scratches, wear, and discoloration, but those that remain flawless can be worth a small fortune today. Let's break down the current market value and see how much your 1978 Lincoln penny could really be worth. A regular circulated 1978 penny might only fetch a few cents, mainly for its copper content. But if you have a brilliant uncirculated coin or a proof coin from San Francisco, things start to get exciting. In today's collector market, a 1978 penny in MS65 condition, that's mint state 65, meaning near perfect, can sell for $50 to $150. If it's an exceptionally well-struck MS67 or MS68, the price skyrockets. Some have sold for $1,000 or more at professional coin auctions. And the highest graded examples, certified by PCGS or NGC, have achieved record prices reaching over $9,000, making them incredibly valuable. That's right, a coin originally worth just 1 cent could now be worth thousands. What drives this kind of value? It's all about condition, rarity, and eye appeal. Coin collectors and investors are always on the lookout for coins with deep luster, sharp details, and minimal marks. If your 1978 penny looks like it was struck yesterday, with a glowing red shine, no scratches, and crisp edges, it could be a hidden gem worth far more than you imagine. But there's another fascinating factor that can make a 1978 Lincoln penny extremely valuable: errors and varieties. Yes, some 1978 pennies left the mint with mistakes, and collectors absolutely love these minting errors. You might find a double die obverse, DDO, coin where the date or the word liberty appears doubled. Others might show off center strikes, broad strikes, or even clipped planchets where part of the coin is missing. These error coins are rare and can easily bring hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the type and condition, and don't forget about the proof coins from the San Francisco Mint. Proof 1978's Lincoln pennies were made with extra care, featuring mirror-like surfaces and sharp details. These coins were not intended for circulation and were sold directly to collectors. A perfect PR70 Deep Cameo, DCAM, example can sell for $200 to $500, sometimes more, especially if it's a flawless strike. Now, let's talk about the current market trends. In 2025, coin collecting is booming once again. Thanks to social media, YouTube channels like RF Coins, and a renewed interest in U.S. history, many people are discovering the hidden value of old coins. Collectors are paying premium prices for older Lincoln cents, particularly those minted before 1982. Copper value, nostalgia, and numismatic rarity all play a big role. According to recent auction results, top-graded 1978 pennies continue to rise in value. One pristine 1978 D penny graded MS-68 red recently sold for a staggering $9,898.956. Yes, nearly $10,000. That's why it's so important to check your pocket change, your old coin jars, and even your family's coin collections. You might have a 1978 Lincoln penny that looks ordinary but could actually be a rare variety or a high-grade piece worth serious money. Grab a magnifying glass, look at the date, the mint mark, and especially the word liberty. Any doubling, unusual shapes, or minting defects can turn that coin into a collector's dream. Collectors also love this year because it sits right before major changes in U.S. coinage. The early 1980s brought metal composition changes, the 1982 transition pennies, and later, the memorial designs replacement with the Lincoln bicentennial and shield designs. So, 1978 represents the final era of pure copper Lincoln memorial cents, making it an important piece of U.S. coin history. If you ever decide to sell your 1978 penny, always get it graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. These certifications give your coin credibility, protect it from damage, and help you get the best price possible on the collector market. Remember, condition is everything. Store your coins in a protective holder, keep them away from moisture, and never clean them. Cleaning can destroy the original luster and actually decrease a coin's value dramatically. So, the next time you find a shiny 1978 penny in your change, don't just toss it aside. It might be one of those rare gems worth far more than face value. The combination of copper richness, historical charm, and the potential for rare varieties makes the 1978 Lincoln penny one of the most exciting coins to hunt for in 2025. Here at RF Coins, we love uncovering stories like this, coins that tell the tale of America's past while surprising us with incredible modern-day value. Whether you're a longtime collector or just starting out, the 1978 Lincoln penny is a perfect reminder that history can still be found in the smallest, most unexpected places. Thank you for watching RF Coins, your #1 destination for U.S. coin history, coin values, and hidden treasures that might be sitting right in your own pocket. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing videos about U.S. coins that are worth a lot of money. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern coins of the Lincoln penny series, the 1996 D Lincoln Memorial Penny, a coin that most people overlook but can actually be worth a lot of money. So stay tuned till the end because you might have this valuable coin sitting right inside your coin jar, and it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on its condition and errors. Let's start with the story behind this coin, the Liberty 1996 D Lincoln Penny. Minted in Denver, represented by the D mint mark just below the date on the obverse side, this coin is part of the classic Lincoln Memorial Series, which ran from 1959 to 2008. The design on the front features the timeless portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, a design first used in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, symbolizing unity, strength, and the enduring legacy of one of America's greatest leaders. Now, let's talk about why this particular year, 1996, stands out among collectors. In 1996, the Denver Mint produced over 6.5 billion Lincoln pennies, which sounds like a huge number, and it is. However, not every 1996 D penny is created equal. Some have unique mint errors, high-grade conditions, and rare die varieties that make them worth far more than just 1 cent. That's where the excitement begins. First, let's discuss the composition. The 1996 D Lincoln penny is made of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, a change that started in 1982 when the U.S. Mint shifted from the traditional solid bronze composition. Even though it's a small and lightweight coin, its value can skyrocket under the right conditions. Now, let's move on to the market value. This is where things get truly interesting. A regular circulated 1996 D penny might only be worth its face value, but a high-grade, mint state coin certified by PCGS or NGC can reach impressive prices. In uncirculated mint condition, MS65 or higher, these coins often sell for $15 to $50, and if you find a gem-grade MS67 or MS68, you're talking about hundreds or even close to $1,000, but that's not all. Some rare error coins from this year have sold for astonishing amounts. Let's look at a few examples collectors love to talk about. There are off-center strike errors, where part of the design is missing because the coin was misaligned during minting. Depending on how much of the design is off, these can fetch between $50 to $300. Then there are double die obverse, DDO, errors, where the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust appear doubled. A clear, dramatic doubling can make your penny worth hundreds of dollars. Another fascinating variety is the repunched mint mark, RPM, where the D mint mark was struck more than once, slightly offset. Collectors are always hunting for these because they're visually distinctive and historically interesting, and a clean example can easily sell for $100 or more. One of the most impressive auction results for a 1996 D Lincoln penny came when a pristine example graded MS68 red sold for almost $900. Proving that even a coin from the 1990s can still turn heads in today's coin market. Yes, you heard that right, nearly $900 for a single penny. And with error varieties, the value can climb even higher depending on rarity and eye appeal. When we talk about today's coin market, collectors are increasingly focusing on modern US coins, especially those that are in top condition or have notable mint errors. That means coins like the 1996 D penny are gaining attention. As more people start collecting and fewer high-grade coins remain in circulation, values have started to rise. Right now, a perfect or nearly perfect 1996 D penny can be worth anywhere between $50 and $898.953, depending on the condition, rarity, and collector demand. Let's take a moment to appreciate the historical context of this coin. The 1990s marked an interesting time for the U.S. Mint. Technology was improving, but there were still occasional human and mechanical errors. The Denver Mint was producing billions of coins each year, so a few mistakes naturally slipped through the cracks. That's what gives us the fascinating error coins that collectors treasure today. Now, if you want to know how to identify a valuable 1996 D Lincoln penny, here's what to look for. Examine the mint mark carefully. Look for signs of doubling or repunching, check for off-center strikes or other visible misalignments, inspect the lettering on the front, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. For any doubling or distortion, use a magnifying glass or coin microscope to spot small details that might not be visible to the naked eye. Always keep your coins in protective holders to prevent damage and preserve their luster. Collectors also value coins with strong, vibrant red color, called red or full red designations, because they show minimal oxidation and excellent preservation. So, if your 1996 D penny still has that shiny copper red appearance, you might be holding a valuable piece right now. Another key factor is grading. Professional coin grading services like PCGS or NGC use a 70-point scale to determine the condition of your coin. A grade of MS60 means it's uncirculated but may have marks or dullness. MS65 is a gem with minor imperfections, while MS67 or higher means an almost perfect coin, and that's where the big money comes. So, how do you find these hidden gems? The best way is to search through coin rolls, old jars, estate sales, or collections from relatives. Many of these valuable 1996 D pennies are hiding in plain sight. People often overlook them because they assume modern coins aren't worth much, but that's not always the case, and if you're passionate about coin collecting, now is the perfect time to get involved. With online marketplaces, coin shows, and collector groups, it's easier than ever to buy, sell, and trade. Always remember to verify authenticity and get coins graded if you believe they might be valuable. The Liberty 1996 D Lincoln penny is a reminder that sometimes, incredible value can come from the most unexpected places. A coin minted for just 1 cent could be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars if it's rare, high grade, or features an unusual error. And for coin lovers, that's the thrill of the hunt, the idea that you might discover something extraordinary in your own collection. So next time you see a 1996 D penny, don't just toss it into your change jar. Take a closer look, because today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern coins of the Lincoln penny series, the 1996 D Lincoln Memorial Penny, a coin that most people overlook but can actually be worth a lot of money. So stay tuned till the end because you might have this valuable coin sitting right inside your coin jar, and it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on its condition and errors. Let's start with the story behind this coin, the Liberty 1996 D Lincoln Penny. Minted in Denver, represented by the D mint mark just below the date on the obverse side, this coin is part of the classic Lincoln Memorial series, which ran from 1959 to 2008.